Mr. Chairman, and members of the Veterans Affairs Committee. On behalf of the more than 1.5 million members of the Disabled American Veterans and its auxiliary, I am honored to appear before you today to discuss the major concerns of our nation's wartime disabled veterans and their families. America's brave young men and women have been in harm's way in Iraq and Afghanistan for longer than our nation fought in World War II. Each day, new casualties return, needing medical care and rehabilitation, and a chance at rewarding and a productive life. As a nation, we have a moral obligation to make sure that their service and sacrifice are not ignored or undervalued. There is no question that our nation has the means. The only question is whether our government has the will to live up to its obligation to all our nation's veterans. I would like to extend our thanks to the leadership of this Congress for their commitment to ensuring that the Department of Veterans Affairs has a budget that is sufficient to meet the needs of our nation's disabled veterans, families, and survivors. Veterans were promised that they would be a priority in the 110th Congress, and we are hopeful that that commitment to veterans will continue in the 111th Congress and into the future. Because of their extraordinary sacrifices, veterans have earned the right to quality, timely disability compensation, and VA health care. The VA has been able to maintain the quality of its health care under the most trying of circumstances. Even when Congress has gotten the funding level right, the VA budget has usually been late. These funding problems simply cannot be allowed to continue. The DAV and the veterans and military communities were pleased that President Obama and Secretary Shinsensei both have publicly supported a proposal to reform the budget process for veterans health care. Mr. Chairman, budget reform is vital for the preservation and viability of the VA healthcare system and necessary to prevent rationing of care. And when the VA is forced to operate month by month under continuing resolution, its inability to properly plan leads to efficiency and waste. Short-term management fixes become long-term problems, further straining the system. That's why the DAV and its allies in the Partnership for Veterans Health Care, budget reform, have long advocated change. The partnership has now grown into a movement which includes 9 veteran service organizations, the 35 members of the military coalition, the American Federation of Government Employees, and about 24 former top VA officials, network, and hospital directors. We believe it is time to take the politics out of veterans health care. It's time to reform the system to ensure sufficient, timely, and predictable funding. We believe the proposal most likely to achieve that goal is the recently introduced Veterans Health Care Budget Reform Transparency Act. Chairman Alcaka, Chairman Zollner, Senator Burr, and all others on these committees that have already sponsored this legislation, please accept our sincere thanks for moving this reform proposal forward. The sufficient, timely, and predictable funding mechanism will allow the VA to work better and smarter in caring for our nation's veterans. Another area sorely in need of reform is the benefits delivery system. But the VA can promptly deliver benefits only if it can process and adjudicate claims in a timely and accurate manner. The VA must have adequate resources properly invested in a long-term strategy instead of a short-term, temporary, and superficial gains. The DAV was also delighted to hear then Secretary nominee Shinseki pledged to transform the VA into a people-centric, results-driven, and forward-looking organization. For decades, the DAV has fought for improvements in claims processing. And while its staffing at the Veterans Benefits Administration now appears to be sufficient, thanks to recent budget increases, other core problems remain. What's also needed is better training and accountability for VBA employees. And the VBA must continue to upgrade its information technology to create a new electronic claims process. Our current mandates cover a broad range of programs and services and have been available to your committees and to your staffs.